Welcome to the Rich Life with Jules, the podcast for women, where we chat about all things health, fitness, business, and mindset to help you get out of your own way and into your richest life. So, today I want to talk about what I have learned about probably myself in this last year. Recently, I have, as most of us have, been looking at what I've achieved in the last year, what were my goals for 2025, how did I do with them. I like to write my goals down actually on paper. So I use this amazing diary from Paper Chase. You get them in Tesco, by the way. Amazing diary from Paper Chase, and I write all my goals in it. My day-to-day stuff goes in Google Calendar. If you're not using Google Calendar to organise your day-to-day, start now. It will literally change your life. But I write all my goals down in my amazing Paper Chase diary. And what I did in January of 2025 was I went to the very last page of it in December and I wrote, by this time you have, and I wrote down all the things I wanted to achieve in the year. So I was reviewing that page this week and I'm like, ha, not really achieved many of them, Jules, have you? No, I've not. I've not really achieved many of them. And it made me think, what have I done this year and what have been the reasons that I have really not achieved these massive goals that I set for myself? Because I was really bold with my goals in January. I'm like, why have I not achieved these goals that I set for myself? And actually, one of the things this week that has absolutely resonated with me massively, it was something my very good friend Emma Story Gordon said, is that 6 out of 10 is the worst place to be. And I'm like, yes, it's actually a dangerous place to be. And that has typified and summed up my year. That everything in my life, when it comes to my weight loss journey, my businesses, my house, work towards the big goals, I have lived a 6 out of 10 life this year. And do I want to be a 6 out of 10 kind of person? No, I absolutely do not. And what I mean by this is, in years gone by, when the business was really getting off the ground and when I was learning a lot of stuff and when there was a lot of costs and not enough revenue, that was a 2 out of 10 place to be. And I'm like, right, I was really pushed to change that because I was in a rubbish place. And the same goes for weight loss. When I was 22 pounds heavier than I am today, I was really unhappy with that and I felt terrible and I was really pushed to make a change. Whereas now, 22 pounds later, I'm like, it's not exactly where I want to be, but it's not bad either. It's 6 out of 10, and that is exactly the same with my business. It's in a good place. Is it in the absolute record breaking, amazing place, the exceptional place that I want it to be? No, but it's not in a terrible place either. And that 6 out of 10 kind of keeps you a wee bit stuck if you do not light a fire under yourself. And in all honesty, this year I have not lit a fire under myself because things have been okay, but not amazing, but not terrible. So this 6 out of 10, I don't find myself to be a 6 out of 10 kind of person. I don't accept 6 out of 10 efforts from people. So why am I accepting a 6 out of 10 effort from myself? I'm not going to in 2026. That's one of the things I've learned this year, that I have in 2025 accepted a 6 out of 10 effort for myself, and it is giving me 6 out of 10 results, which I absolutely do not want. And one of the reasons I think this is I've talked a lot about how I was absolutely burnt out pre-COVID, during COVID, and the year or two after it. And I think I have probably been a wee bit not lighting a fire under myself because I'm like, oh, don't want to burn yourself out. And it's very much a balance. And as you know, if you've listened to other podcasts, I'm not really a big one for work-life balance. I'm more of a work-life integration person because what I do for work in my business, I absolutely love, and I would miss it if I didn't do it. So it's part of my life. It's not something I'm like, oh, you can have a wee bit of time business and then real life, you get a wee bit of time. I like them to be blended together. So I'm not a massive work-life balance person. And also, I don't think balance massively exists on a day-to-day basis. Some days you're going to be way up here with things, some days you're going to be down low with things. And like sometimes you will be working 16-hour days, sometimes you'll be working 4-hour days. But when it comes to my effort, because for so many years I just burnt the candle at both ends and I was just constantly running the engine and never looking after the engine, never giving it time off. I have come to the very other end of that scale and that spectrum where I'm like, oh, don't want to push yourself too far. Careful you don't burn out again. And I think I've come to the point now at the end of 2025, I've realised that I've probably been holding myself back for fear of pushing it a wee bit too much. So I'm going to try and let go of that in 2026. I am very aware of not burning myself out again and not getting to the point that it ruins my life and that I'm just stressed out and like all the physical things that comes with it as well, that I'm not looking after my health, my wellness, all of these things. I'm not nurturing relationships. So I think I need to nudge myself a wee bit more to the middle of this. Just take it easy, be careful, don't burn out, and the burnout end, and nudge myself a wee bit more into the middle. I'm absolutely, please do not listen to this and think I'm trying to push myself towards burnout, or I'm not a hustle harder type of person. I'm like, hustle, but make it good life. I don't want you to think I'm like, I'm going to absolutely run myself into the ground in 2026, but I think I have held myself back in 2025 for fear of burning myself out. And I think I know myself a lot better now. My work is completely different. My schedules are completely different. My finances are completely different. So many things are very, very, very different than it was when I was at the point of burnout. I know myself so much better now. I'm so much more aware of my habits and my personality and the kind of things that I do. So I will never get back to the place of burnout, but I'm sitting far too much on the end of the scale where I'm like, just chill out, just take it easy. You don't want to burn yourself out. And that is one of the things I have definitely learned about myself, reflecting back on 2025. Something else that come up from a conversation with another business owner this week was I was talking about time off. And I was like, yeah, I'll not do any work like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. And he was like, that's like that's not time off over Christmas. And he's like, you need to set boundaries and you don't always need to be pushing and doing more. And again, we were talking about burnout. And I think one of the things is I don't now feel that I need to prove myself, or one of the reasons that I'm working is not because I feel as if I should do more and I need more achievements and ticking boxes. All of the work that I do now, which we've established I probably do need to light a fire under, but all the work I do now is because I genuinely love it and I enjoy almost everything, like probably 99% of everything I do in my businesses. I absolutely love. The 1% is probably things like doing my books and my accounts and all this. But I do have an accountant for that. If you're a business owner and you don't have an accountant, please get one. It will change your life. But I think somebody just drawing my awareness to that I'm too unstructured with time off work and time on work. I am very much up when inspiration takes me. I just start working. So like I'll work on like a Sunday morning or maybe a Saturday night or a Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And then like a Monday morning I don't work. And I'm quite scattered with my working times. So I think I need more structure over my working times and a dedicated day off, which will be Saturday or Sunday, but a dedicated day off that I'm like, do you know what? Even if inspiration takes you today, make a note of it in your phone and don't open the laptop. You need actual time off. And I will admit, I am terrible for taking annual leave in inverted commas, basically in air quotes. I am terrible for taking annual leave. I don't do it. And actually, I said to one of my friends once who has a job, we were booking a holiday, and she was like, "Oh, I need to get my annual leave sorted." And I was like, "Oh, mine's is already sorted." Haha. I was like, I couldn't have a job where I've got where I've got annual leave and I've got a set amount of days off. And she said, if you had annual leave, you would have more time off. And I was like, whoa, I feel seen. And she's totally right. Because if I had 28 days of annual leave, like I used to get in my job, I would have more annual leave than I do now because I generally don't take any. Now, I don't thrive off of 2 weeks off or even a full week off. And part of this is because I love what I do and it fills my cup and I genuinely enjoy all of the parts of my work. But that said, there still needs to be downtime. And I can see it now, see in December. It's my creativity. I'm like, the thought of like making like content, podcasts, and I'm sitting there thinking, need some ideas, and it's just blank because my creativity has been dialed right down because I've not had any time off. So one of the things I'm going to do in 2026 is have actual time off. So whether that be 3 or 4 days, but 3 or 4 days actually off and scheduled in, I'm going to try and do it at least once a quarter. I am fortunate that my hubby has a 9 to 5 job, so he does take full weeks of annual leave, so I can schedule it around his annual leave and we can have time off together, go places, take the dog places. But what I have tended to do this year is even when he's been on annual leave, I'm like, oh, I'll just do my work in the morning and then we'll go out in the afternoon. So I'm working less when he's on annual leave, but I'm not actually taking any blocks of time off as annual leave. So annual leave is going to be one of the things that I do in 2026 that I've learned from dialing down my creativity that I need. So even that working an hour or two a day, it's still a working day. You're still not giving yourself an actual break, Jules. So you need annual leave. So I'm going to allot myself annual leave for 2026. And the last thing that I have realised, and I've only vocalised this recently, it's always just kind of been in my head, and I've actually never even really spoke to Ross about it. It was just something that's kind of assumed and chatted about. But my big goal, my huge big goal, my big bucket list life goal seems so far away and so unachievable to me that I literally do nothing for it. My goal is to move our entire life to Spain. And it's always been quite far away in like time. Like, oh, we'll move, do it in 10 years, 15 years. And then as me and Ross were talking this last couple of weeks, I'm like, what, why 10 or 15 years? We were going to move to a village that's near us. And we're like, why are we moving to that village? What, we're going to move there for 5 years or 10 years and then we're going to move abroad? What, we don't have kids. Why are we not moving abroad now? Why am I not starting work on this goal now? And I think that's putting off the big, massive, scary goals because they feel really difficult and unachievable. It just kicks the can down the road and you never actually do anything for it. So, for my big, massive, scary goal of moving my entire life to Spain, because, well, let's face it, I've got an online business. I can still work in Spain. Why am I not starting to take action on this and making this not a goal for 15 years' time, but making this a goal for maybe 3 years' time? So, I'm going to actually start work on this goal of moving to Spain. And it's things like getting our finances in order, getting our house in order, finding out actually what is the logistics of moving to Spain. Because right now I'm like, oh, that seems like really complicated and scary. Just don't touch it. And I've not. So I've actually not fully looked into it of what would be required of us to move our whole lives to Spain. That is the last thing I'm going to chat about today that I have learned about myself in 2025, that because my goal feels so big and so scary, I have put it into a 15 years down the road box so that I didn't need to touch it. And it doesn't need to be 15 years down the road. I'm going to grab that box, pull it much closer, open it up, and start pulling all of the things out it. And it is going to be challenging and it's going to be messy, but if I keep kicking that can down the road, I will never get to the big scary goal. So I'm going to light a fire under myself. I am going to take some proper annual leave and I'm going to grab that box with a big massive scary goal in it and start unpacking it and start working on it. But I would absolutely love to hear what you have learned about yourself in this year. When you look back at your goals, what have you realised you have done or not done? The one thing I'm going to actually, just before I finish, going to massively congratulate myself on is my Goodreads goal. It is the only goal that when I've got to the end of the year, I've been like, yeah, that fire was lit. That was a bonfire because I have smashed my Goodreads goal. My Goodreads goal for the year was 100 books and I'm currently on book 98. So well done, pat on the back for me for at least lighting a fire under one goal. But all the other goals, I'm going to carry them forward to 2026 and I'm going to light that fire right from January because I am not living another 6 out of 10 year and getting back to December 2026 and being like, could I tried harder, Jules? And realistically, that was what 2025 was. It was a wee bit of self-discovery but in the second part of the year, could have tried harder, Jules. So let me know what you've learned about yourself and what you're going to do differently in 2026 to live your rich life, a 10 out of 10 kind of rich life. I'll speak to you very soon.